So why don't we learn this week about Esper Solemnity in Modern? And overall, we played a competitive league. We ended up 3-2, although that kind of comes with an asterisk. One of our losses, oh my goodness, that game against Titan Shift. I don't know if I'm embarrassed or angry or what, but basically, we got janked out because we hit F6. Our opponent kind of got the game to a spot where they could get us to F6 and then took advantage of it. So I don't know, but that was a frustrating loss. I feel like we had that game locked up and then we probably just would have won because our opponent was low on time. Otherwise, our lock pieces are really good. We got to see like our opponent's entire deck and they have maybe two answers in their entire deck to our lock. So I feel like that's a decent matchup anyway. So technically we finished 3-2, but I felt like we could have went 4-1. And then our other loss to Death Shadow, we just kind of ran bad. Our opponent had lots of disruption, and that's a thing that can happen, but we can definitely beat Death Shadow because we have a lot of pieces that are hard for that deck to deal with as well if we can get them in through our opponent's disruption. Otherwise, beat Jeskai Delver, beat 5-color humans, which is just a great matchup for us, beat the crazy Jeskai control approach deck, which was pretty unique to see in Modern. So overall, I think the deck is really good. I still like this deck. I'm still playing this deck. I'm still trying to work out some of the last few kings. I'm pretty happy with the deck overall. I feel like the main deck is in pretty good place. There's a couple of non-bows that kind of bothers me. For example, one of the big ones that I'm trying to work out right now is Rest in Peace is a great sideboard card. It's a great Zur target, so it naturally fits really well in our deck. On the other hand, it's really awkward with a Crucible of Worlds plan, awkward with our Logic Nods, a little awkward with Search for Azcanta, although Search is fine when it's just scrying anyway. So there's kind of this weird pressure there, and it's hard to figure out if it's better to play a worse sideboard card. For example, Leyline of the Void maybe, as our graveyard hate, because we can't tutor that out with Zur. It's not as strong as Rest in Peace, but it doesn't have the anti-synergy that we're getting right now. So those are the kind of things we're trying to weigh out. Also, might be worth bringing in another Pithy Needle. Getting got by Engineered Explosives was annoying. We could main deck one. I don't know if that's necessary. I've looked through a lot of decks, and main deck Engineered Explosives is actually super rare. It's a sideboard thing, which is why we got the Pithy Needle and the Stony Silence in the sideboard. But if people start playing more Engineered Explosives in their main deck, that is a main deck way that people can jank us out of the lock. But overall, very happy with the deck's performance. The clock is super slow, but it is very inevitable. We didn't really have problems closing out the game, partly because people just scooped the lock. People realize they can't beat it, so it's actually pretty rare that we have to kill our opponent with this deck because they see what's happening. They see that we're strip mining them. They see that they just don't have the cards to get out from under it. So I feel like we do a good job stabilizing in the early game with our discard, with our early game removal, and then we just have so many copies of Solemnity, of Phyrexian Unlife, with our Zurs, with our Drift of the Phantasms, that we usually do a good job of finding it and setting it up. I've played builds of this combo in the past where we just struggle with actually drawing our combo pieces, and that kind of defeats the entire purpose of the deck. If you can't find a Solemnity, you can't find a Phyrexian Unlife, that's when everything really starts to fall apart and the deck struggles, because you really need both of those pieces. But in this build, especially with the addition of Drift of Phantasms, which was kind of the last piece of the puzzle, I think, Drift is just really good in this deck. It's so helpful being able to consistently have our combo and consistently have Crucible of Worlds once we have our combo. Really changed the dynamic of the deck and made it much, much better than it was before. So I don't know. Those are the little things still trying to work out. Is there a better counter than Logic Knot maybe? Possibly. That would help cut down on the anti-synergy with Rest in Peace. But overall, I feel like this deck is pretty close to where I want it to be. And I still feel, even with our 3-1 performance, that maybe could have, shoulda, woulda been a 4-1. I feel like the only deck we just straight up got beat by was Death Shadow. And I'm not especially scared of Death Shadow when playing this deck. We have a lot of good pieces to beat Death Shadow. So that was just one of those things. You don't win all the games, but I feel like we really compete with most of the big decks in Modern and have the pieces. We have the land disruption to compete with Tron. We have lock pieces that stop decks like Storm and fast combo decks. They also stop aggro decks, and we have other stuff like Ghostly Prisons and Creature Remover for aggro. We have Thought Seizes and Inquisitions to get rid of answers to our answers. We have a sideboard that's set up to protect our lock even more. So I feel like we actually have stuff to beat essentially any deck in the format. There's very few decks where I feel like, oh, we just can't beat this deck, which is a really good place for this combo to be right now. So I feel like the improvements that need to be made are just little things around the edges, making sure we have all of our bases covered, making sure we have the answer to the Engineered Explosives, the Fracturing Gust, a couple of cards that actually got us. So those are the little things, but I feel like overall, I think you can play Esper Solemnity. I think you can compete with Esper Solemnity in our current meta, and I'm planning on continuing to play it because I just really love playing this deck. I missed locking people out of the game, troll worship style, and I feel like this is the combo right now, the best combo for locking people out of the game. Still going to revisit Free Win Red at some point soon, but I'm really happy with where Esper Solemnity is right now as far as being the lock deck for Modern. So anyway, that's been our Much Abrew for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.